I never expected to see her again, let alone like that, soaked to the skin, trembling, holding a manila envelope like it was the only thing keeping her upright. 3 days earlier, I'd handed that same envelope to her assistant. A simple, clean resignation. No drama, no confrontation. I typed it late at night, pacing my apartment with a whiskey in one hand and too many thoughts in the other. After 5 years at Apex Industries, I was done, burned out, hollowed out, and if I'm being honest, heartbroken. Alexandra Monroe, CEO of Apex, was the kind of woman you didn't forget. Elegant, intimidating, surgically efficient. I'd admired her from a distance like you'd admire a painting you couldn't touch. She never missed a beat, never cracked, which is why seeing her like that on my doorstep in the pouring rain shook me to the core. It was 8:17 p.m. on a Friday night. I finally kicked off my shoes, microwave dinner half-eaten on the counter. When the doorbell rang, I almost didn't answer. I thought maybe it was a delivery mix-up or a neighbor needing jumper cables. But when I opened the door, there she was. Her dark coat clung to her body, plastered to the shape of her frame. Her hair, usually pinned back in a tight chignon, was loose, wet strands framing her face. Raindrops slid down her cheeks, mixing with what might have been tears. I honestly couldn't tell. I accepted your resignation, she said, her voice low, barely audible over the sound of rain hitting the pavement. But I never accepted losing you from my life. My body locked. My hand still rested on the doorknob, frozen in place. My brain couldn't compute what I was hearing. This was Alexandra Monroe, the woman who commanded boardrooms full of men twice her age, the woman who could reduce a project manager to tears with a single look. And now she was standing on my porch, dripping wet, voice shaking. You, what? I finally managed. She didn't answer right away, just held the envelope out like an offering. I didn't take it. Can I come in? She asked. Please. I stepped aside before I even thought it through. She walked past me, water trailing behind her on the wood floor. The scent of rain and perfume filled the room. I shut the door, turned, and there she stood in my living room, clutching that envelope like it was a shield. I should have said something when you handed it in, she began, but I didn't know how, not then. You've always been the one person She stopped, swallowing hard. I couldn't afford to lose. I leaned against the wall, still trying to catch up. This isn't about work, I asked. No, she said. It never was. And just like that, the ground shifted. For years I'd kept my distance, professional, respectful, watching her run the company like a force of nature, while secretly wondering what it would be like to know her outside the boardroom. I'd heard whispers, of course, that she was married once, that it ended badly, that she didn't let people in. I thought I was imagining things during those late-night calls, when she'd ask about my motorcycle project, when she sent me books she thought I'd like, when she moved my deadlines after Rebecca left me without explanation. Maybe I wasn't imagining anything after all. I created a new position, she said softly. Director of Wellness. You'll have full autonomy. Build it from scratch. No stress. No 60-hour weeks. Just meaning. I couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. I designed it for you, she added, stepping closer. But the job isn't why I'm here. There it was. Every defense I'd built, the professionalism, the distance, the silence cracked in that moment. She looked at me like I was the only person in the world who'd ever truly seen her. And for the first time since Rebecca left, I felt something shift inside me. Hope. I don't know where this goes, she whispered, but I couldn't stay silent. Not anymore. I stepped forward and took the envelope from her hand. Not because of what was inside, but because it was time to let her in. Stay, I said. And she did. 6 months before that rainy night, I came home to silence. The apartment was too clean, too still, and on the counter, next to an untouched cup of coffee, sat a folded piece of paper with my name on it. I knew before I opened it. Rebecca was gone. We'd been together for years, built a life, or so I thought. She was the kind of woman who needed stimulation, weekend trips, dinner parties, adrenaline. I was quieter. I liked working with my hands, taking things apart and putting them back together. Maybe that was the problem. The note was brief. No fight. No discussion. Just, you're good. You're kind. But I need someone exciting. That night, I sat on the floor of my garage, staring at the half-finished Triumph motorcycle I'd been restoring for months. I didn't touch it. Couldn't. I just stared, feeling like I'd become a project someone else walked away from halfway through. I showed up to work the next morning like nothing had happened. No one knew. I didn't tell anyone, but I was hollow, going through motions I didn't care about anymore. Until Alexandra noticed. It was subtle at first, an email removed from my calendar, a deadline pushed back. I thought it was a glitch, but then I realized it kept happening. Meetings I didn't need to attend were rescheduled. Tasks I was overloaded with were quietly reassigned. She never said anything, just watched and intervened without calling attention to it. It didn't match who she was known to be. Apex Monroe, the icy perfectionist, the one with a 6-minute limit on small talk and a habit of rewriting investor pitches mid-flight. But what she gave me wasn't pity. It was space. One Friday, she walked by my desk and paused. "Take Monday," she said. I blinked up at her. "Sorry, take Monday. Go somewhere, write something, fix something." That was all, and she was gone. I don't know why that moment hit me as hard as it did, but I took her advice. I pulled the Triumph out of the garage, cleaned the carburetor, replaced the clutch cable, and took it down the coast. No destination, just the sound of the engine, the wind, and my heart slowly finding a rhythm again. After that, I started showing up differently. I wasn't healed, but I wasn't broken either. I started eating better, sleeping again. I found joy in little things: espresso from the guy 2 blocks down, rewatching old films with greasy fingers from a takeout box, sanding down the handlebars until they gleamed like chrome mirrors, and slowly, Alexandra and I became something strange but steady. It started with her asking about the bike, then about my weekend, then books. She'd email after midnight sometimes, always about work but with a tone that suggested something more. The turning point was a message she sent one night. "Do you ever wonder if we mistake being productive for being alive?" I sat with that question for 2 days. I never answered it, but I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that she'd asked me. I never made a move. I never let myself hope, but I started to care about her. Not just respect her, not just admire her. Care. And that scared the hell out of me, because I'd already been left once for not being enough. But the truth? She made me feel like I already was. After Alexandra stepped inside that night, something in both of us softened. She took off her wet coat, and I handed her a towel. And sure, if the moment felt more like a job interview or the start of something we'd both been silently craving. We talked for hours, first on the couch, then in the kitchen, our mugs filled with bad instant coffee and something tender neither of us wanted to name yet. "I don't usually do this," she said, tracing a drop of water along the rim of her mug. "Show up at former employees' houses in the rain." I teased. Her laugh was quiet but real. "No, I don't usually ask for things I'm not sure I deserve." She was Alexandra Monroe, CEO, Ice Queen legend, Forbes cover star, and yet, in that moment, she was just a woman trying not to be alone. I told her the truth, that I'd wanted to reach out to, but I thought I was imagining everything, that I didn't want to risk losing what little connection we had. "You weren't imagining it," she said, "but I didn't know how to be anything other than who I've always been at work. I've spent my life building walls. You were the first person I let in without realizing it. We didn't rush. We didn't kiss." She stayed on the couch that night, curled under a blanket, and I fell asleep just listening to her breathe from the other room. The next morning, she looked around my messy kitchen and said, "So this is where James Mitchell lives when he's not rebuilding motorcycles or fixing everyone else's problems." I shrugged. "Not much of a palace. It's honest," she said. "I like honest." Over the next few weeks, we figured things out slowly. No big declarations, no dramatic upheavals, just long walks, quiet breakfasts, and the occasional argument about how to brew coffee properly. I returned to Apex officially as director of wellness, the role she'd made for me. There were murmurs. Of course, a board member even pulled Alexandra aside during a meeting and suggested hiring me back so soon. Looked personal. Alexandra didn't blink. "It was personal," she said, loud enough for half the table to hear, "because letting good people burn out is bad leadership. James earned this, and I won't apologize for recognizing value others overlook." I found a rhythm in that new role. I helped others not hit the same walls I did, created programs, built resources, made space for people to be more than just their output. And at night, she and I would sit on my balcony, sharing stories we'd never told anyone else. No masks, no titles, just James and Alexandra. A month later, we took the Triumph up the coast again. Just the two of us. No destination. We stopped at a beach overlook just past midnight. Stars splashed across the sky like they'd been painted there for us alone. So am I said, but I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. She turned to me, eyes glistening not with tears, but with something stronger. Hope. Double quotes. I love you. James, I didn't hesitate. I love you too. And just like that, success wasn't a corner office or a six-figure bonus. It was two tired people learning how to be brave together.